Ask you something. Why is it that we spend over a decade in school, sitting through lectures, memorizing formulas, writing essays about books we didn't care about, and somehow graduate without the faintest idea of how to actually live? Nobody taught you how to handle rejection. Nobody walked you through what happens when your first real relationship falls apart. Nobody prepared you for the moment you realize your boss is incompetent, your friends are drifting away, and the version of adulthood you imagine looks nothing like the one you're actually living. You were handed a diploma and pushed out the door. Figure it out. And most of us did what we had to do. We stumbled forward. We learned through embarrassment, through bad decisions, through copying whoever seemed most confident and hoping it worked. We felt out of place and pretended we didn't. We swallowed our confusion because admitting it felt dangerous. Because somewhere along the way, we absorbed the message that not knowing what you're doing is something to be ashamed of. That's not an accident. That's what happens when an entire generation is handed responsibility without preparation. The people who were supposed to help you. Some people got lucky. They had parents who were present, who talked openly, who passed down real wisdom about how the world works. If that was you, genuinely great. You had a real advantage, but let's be honest about the majority. Most people grew up with parents who were too exhausted, too checked out, or too tangled up in their own unresolved problems to offer much of a roadmap. They weren't villains. They were just people who never got the manual either, doing their best under pressure. But the result is the same. You were left to figure out relationships, identity, ambition, and self-worth largely on your own. And when people are lost and looking for direction, someone always shows up to exploit that. The internet made it worse. Now there's an entire industry built on your confusion. Gurus selling $5 courses. Influencers packaging insecurity into content and calling it wisdom. The alpha male crowd telling you that social dominance is a personality. The hustle culture machine screaming at you to optimize every waking hour while quietly falling apart behind the content calendar. And the worst part? Some of it almost sounds right. That's what makes it dangerous. They take a real problem, the fact that you feel lost, unprepared, behind, and they hand you a fake solution. Build a better body. Adopt a dominant mindset. Stop being emotional. Become the main character. Meanwhile, the actual issues, the loneliness, the self-doubt, the patterns you keep repeating, the relationships you keep destroying, those go completely untouched. It's not just internet influencers either. The self-help section has been selling the same recycled promises for decades. Classic books built on corporate-era anecdotes that barely apply to modern life. Productivity systems that work great until Tuesday. Advice so generic it could apply to anyone, which means it truly helps no one. The market is full of user manuals that don't work, and people keep buying them because the alternative, sitting with genuine uncertainty, is uncomfortable. So they grab the next book, the next course, the next motivational video, and feel productive without actually changing anything. What I learned the hard way, I've been through it. The highs where everything felt clear, and the lows where nothing made sense. The mistakes I repeated until I finally understood what was driving them. The relationships I mishandled because I didn't have the self-awareness to see my own patterns. The years I spent waiting to feel ready, waiting for circumstances to improve, waiting for some kind of sign that it was time to actually start living. Here's what I know now, that wait is a trap. Waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect mindset, the magic insight that fixes everything. Life doesn't pause for that. It keeps moving. And if you're standing still, it moves without you. Nobody is coming to save you. Not a guru, not a course, not a book with a catchy title. The only way through is to actually go through it with as much understanding as you can gather and the honesty to see yourself clearly. That's a hard thing to hear, but it's also the most useful thing anyone can tell you. So here's the deal. This channel exists to have the conversations that nobody had with you when they should have. Not motivation, not hype, not a highlight reel designed to make you feel inadequate. Real, honest discussion about what it's like to be a person navigating life, backed by research, informed by history, and grounded in actual experience. The goals are simple, and I'll say them directly. 1. I want you to understand that most of what you're struggling with is normal. The anxiety, the confusion, the feeling that everyone else has figured something out that you haven't. That's not evidence of personal failure. That's the shared human condition. You've just never been told that clearly enough. 2. I want to give you perspectives that help you avoid mistakes before you make them. Not because my path was perfect, but because there's real value in learning from someone else's wreckage instead of building your own. 3. I want to prepare you for the milestones nobody warns you about. The culture shock of starting college, the politics of your first job, the first time you have a serious conflict with someone in authority and don't know how to handle it. The moment a long-term relationship ends and you don't know who you are without it. These aren't rare events. They're almost universal. And they hit much harder when you never saw them coming. You are not uniquely broken. You are not uniquely behind. You are not the only person who feels like they're improvising while everyone around them follows a script you never received. History didn't start with us. Every generation has faced these same questions about identity, belonging, purpose, failure, and how to build a life that actually means something. The wisdom exists. It's been gathered across centuries by people who struggled with the exact same things you're struggling with now. We just have to stop pretending we don't need it. This channel is a place to access that wisdom without the performance, without the upsell, without the pretense that anyone has it all figured out. I'm not here to sell you a version of yourself you should become. I'm here to help you understand the one you already are and give you the tools to actually work with that. That's it. Let's get started.